not first one and not last, I'm sure. And I mean, really between us, I'm not sure that by phone we can manage all the plan, all security guarantees with all the details, because, you know, devil in details. Yes, and we know where is this devil, in what country now. Yes, that's why we have to stop him, to stop Putin, and it's very important for me. That's why the atmosphere of our discussion is good, but really it's always good. Yes. But we need urgent, very concrete steps. And I think we have to work on it. Our teams, well, we began, but I think that we have to start immediately to do more deep decisions.
Thank you, Mr. President. Could you tell us a little bit more about the Russia talks, your impression of how they went today, and if you're perhaps more confident or less confident of a deal after what happened today?
Well, much more confident. They were very good. Russia wants to do something. They want to stop the savage barbarianism. I mean, what's going on over there? It's soldiers are being killed by the thousands on a weekly basis. It's ridiculous. And they're not American soldiers, they're Russian soldiers, and they're Ukrainian soldiers largely, although a lot of Koreans have been killed, as you know. Quite a bit of them have been killed. They came over to fight, and a large portion have been wiped out. But we want to end it. It's a senseless war. It should have never happened, would have never happened if I was president.
We have to work on it. All of us, not only me. Me is not enough, really. I think we have to work, because I think that, you know, we together in Europe, the war is in Europe, and America is far from the invasion. And I think that we need to share more details, because to my mind, there are a lot of different voices around new American administration, and I'm not sure that all these voices on our side. That's why we have to work with these people, even with some Europeans, as I said. If I was understandable, I don't know, about Mar-a-Lago, about there,
It was clear.
It was clear, but I want to repeat it, yes. It's important for them to be clear.
Do you want to name names while we're at it?
I know names, of course.
President Trump, as part of a peace deal with Putin, would you be willing to consider removing all American troops from Europe?
Well, nobody's asked me to do that, so I don't think we'd have to do that. I wouldn't want to do that. But that question's never really come up. Yeah. Please.
Sir, do you support stationing European peacekeeping troops in Ukraine as part of this peace deal?
If they want to do that, that's great. I'm all for it. If they want to do that, I think that'd be fine.
Even if the Russians are...
I mean, I know France has mentioned it. Others have mentioned it. UK has mentioned it. But, if we have a peace deal, I think having troops over there from the standpoint of Europe, we won't have to put any over there because, you know, we're very far away. But having troops over there would be fine. I would not object to it at all. We're talking about this now, peace. We have either a ceasefire or a peace itself, and we're looking to do both.
To my mind, they are preparing atmosphere for their dialogue.
For their dialogue, which will be?
For the dialogue between Trump and Putin. And I think it's up to them, but they can discuss everything they want, but not about Ukraine without us. And that's why, in this case, especially in this case, I think it's a little bit dangerous. That's why I said that we need to talk more with the president and to talk more with his people, with his teams. Yesterday, as you said, yes, we had good conversation, and I think that I opened some new details for vice president. That's why I said it's not waste time. It's really very important, I think, diplomatic investment for the future, just and lasting peace for Ukraine.
Message for Ukrainians who, after 3 years of fighting, might feel betrayed or disappointed at not having a seat at these initial talks in Saudi Arabia?
Well, I think I'm really disappointed in what's happened. I've been watching this for 3 years. It's a war that would have never happened if I was president. And I've been watching these people being killed at levels that you've rarely seen, not even close, since the Second World War. And I'm very disappointed. I hear that, they're upset about not having a seat. Well, they've had a seat for 3 years and a long time before that. This could have been settled very easily. Just a half-baked negotiator could have settled this years ago without the loss of much land, very little land, without the loss of any lives, and without the loss of cities that are just laying on their sides. You have those magnificent golden domes that are shattered, will never be replaced. You can't replace them. 1,000-year-old domes that are so beautiful, you can't replace that. A whole civilization has changed because of what. So when they're worried about not being seated, you mean somebody that should have gone in and made a deal a long time ago. You could have made a deal. This is one that could have made a deal. There was no talk of this during the Trump administration. Putin would have never, ever done it.
On all the levels, we directly, yes, very directly, send these messages that we have to prepare security guarantees like a main part of the stopping Putin and stop this war, and very important, essential, and we say that it can't be without us, and that's why I don't know if we don't have, from my point of view, if we don't have for today common plan, it means for me that United States doesn't have, because if they have something, it's not about us. I mean, this about something new, but we don't want this new reality. Yes, so that's why.
I was just asking you whether you have convinced them that you must be at the table.
Of course, I said that. I think that is good. That first of all, we have to make a plan with you. I said to the president. It was the day when he had phone calls with Putin and with me, and first with him and then with us.
And how did that sit with you?
No, I said that.
But first with Putin and then with you.
Oh, I'm not happy. Yes, but I think that more dangerous if first meeting will be with Putin and then with Ukraine.
I'm looking at people that are being killed, and they're Russian and Ukrainian people, but they're people. Doesn't matter where they're from on the whole planet. And I think I have the power to end this war. And I think it's going very well. But today I heard, we weren't invited. Well, you've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it 3 years. You should have never started it. You could have made a deal. I could have made a deal for Ukraine that would have given them almost all of the land, everything, almost all of the land, and no people would have been killed, and no city would have been demolished, and not one dome would have been knocked down. But they chose not to do it that way. And President Biden, in all fairness, he doesn't have a clue. What he was so bad for this. He was so bad, so pathetic. It's so sad. But with all of that being said, look, it is what it is. When I left, there was no chance that this could have happened. But it happened because we had incompetent leadership at many different levels. But when you see what's taken place in Ukraine with millions of people killed, including the soldiers, millions of people killed, a big percentage of their cities knocked down to the ground. I don't know how anybody even lives there. When they say they took a poll, and Zelensky's at 4%. Who's living there? It's hard to believe that people live there. Their cities are being knocked down. And this is something that would have never happened. And by the way, for 4 years, it didn't happen. It was never going to happen.
I'm focusing on surviving of our country. And I'm doing really all my term, beginning from different dialogues, as I said to you, continuing with COVID as all of us, but half of my term was COVID. Another half is the war with Putin or against him. Yes? So this is what really very important. I'm ready, to speak about elections if you want. Ukrainians don't want, totally don't want, because they're afraid because otherwise we will lose the military law, war law, and our soldiers will come back home, and Putin will occupy all our territory. It will be, because now we're mobilized, now we are one organism, yes, so we are one country. Yeah, that's why it's very important to hold and to save it. And it doesn't matter, I mean, we need unity in country. So it's not about, myself, it's about the future of our country. It's about, for today, really, the question is to survive. The question is to save Ukraine, our independence, our people, our homes. And if somebody doesn't like, they can choose another citizenship.
Wants to force Ukraine to hold new elections in order to sign any kind of a peace deal. Is that something that the U.S. would ever support?
Well, we have a situation where we haven't had elections in Ukraine, where we have martial law, essentially martial law in Ukraine, where the leader in Ukraine, I mean, I hate to say it, but he's down at 4% approval rating, and where a country has been blown to smithereens. You got most of the cities are laying on their sides. The buildings are collapsed. It looks like a massive demolition site. So many of the cities. I mean, they haven't done it in Kiev because I guess they don't want to shoot too many rockets in there. They've done it 20%, but they haven't done it 100%. If they wanted to do it 100%, it would probably happen very quickly. But you have cities that are absolutely decimated. And yeah, I would say that, when they want a seat at the table, you could say the people wouldn't the people of Ukraine have to say, it's been a long time since we've had an election. That's not a Russia thing. That's something coming from me and coming from many other countries also. Ukraine is being just wiped out. Look at what's happening to the cities. There are cities, there's not even a building standing. It's a massive, you talk about Gaza. I mean, it's literally, these cities look like Gaza. Actually, many have, percentage-wise, more buildings knocked down than in Gaza. So, people are tired of it. People want to see something happen.
We spoke about delaying and about decision of the Congress, and at least positive decision. I was thankful to him. It was in September when we had meeting during his election period. I think so. Or before the election period, I don't, before, a little bit before, yes, so it was very important, the decision. I was thankful bipartisan support, and also Mike Johnson, he made positive decision, and also to President Trump, because if he wouldn't be supportive, they couldn't vote this decision, but really help, which we needed very much, still is going. I mean, not everything came. Yeah. You understand? Yeah. So it's very slow, and I think General Zelensky was right that one of the reasons why we lost. But I don't want to speak about kilometers. But I'm ready. I mean, we lost about 4,000 square kilometers. Yes, but of course, if the help could come, very quickly, everybody understand that the losses was. I mean,
I understand what you're saying.
We could be in more good conditions.
It's been bothering me for a long time because I solved the problem with NATO. They paid hundreds of billions of dollars into the funds of NATO when I said you got to pay, because the United States was paying for European countries, and then they take advantage of us on trade. But I've seen it. Look, they have to pay. They have to find out, where is the money going to? We have, I believe, President Zelensky said last week that he doesn't know where half of the money is that we gave him. Well, we gave them, I believe, $350 billion, but let's say it's something less than that, but it's a lot. And we have to equalize with Europe, because Europe has given us given a very much smaller percentage than that. I think Europe has given $100 billion, and we've given, let's say, 300 plus. And it's more important for them than it is for us. We have an ocean in between, and they don't. But where is all the money that's been given? Where is it going? And I've never seen an accounting of it. We give hundreds of billions of dollars. I don't see any accounting. So I want to see peace. Look, you know why I want because I don't want all these people killed anymore.
We really want peace and we work on it. We will prepare security guarantees like we see. We will share it with the United States, and I hope they will share their view. As I said, common view for me is very important to hear all our partners in Europe who helped us, in EU plus, of course, because UK, our partners, big partners, and that's why it's very important to prepare during months all these things, to share it with the President of the United States, to find time for this, to our common meetings, to make this common plan, then to put it on the table for Putin and do everything. That things what really President Trump, he's strong, he can do. Put sanctions or pressure in any ways, in any case, how he wants. And after that, to stop this war this year, 2025, make a peace in Ukraine. This is our plan. That's what we really want, and that's what we will try to do.
How would you counter the perception, because Russia's pushing for this, obviously, they don't really hold true elections, that would be a capitulation of some sort. How would you guard against potentially Russia installing a puppet government? And then finally, how would that new election have an impact on getting Zelensky to sign the rare earth minerals deal?
Look, you have leadership, and I like him personally. He's fine. But I don't care about personally. I care about getting the job done. You have leadership now that's allowed a war to go on that should have never even happened, even without the United States. Look, we had a president who was grossly incompetent. He had no idea what he was doing. He said some very stupid things, like going in for portions and all of the things. He made a lot of bad statements, but he's grossly incompetent, and I think everyone knew that. This is something that should have never happened, would have never happened. And I used to discuss it with Putin. President Putin and I would talk about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye, I will tell you that. But there was never a chance of him going in. And I told him, you better not go in. Don't go in. Don't go in. And he understood that. He understood it fully. But I'm only interested, I want to see if I can save maybe millions of lives. This could even end up in a World War III. I mean, to be honest with you, you've been hearing now Europe is saying, well, I think we're going to go in and we're going to go. All of a sudden, you're going to end up in World War III over something that should have never happened. And, you know, it's a very sad situation. Yeah, please.